Thomas! It's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it! Well,
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
champions.
Good evening, everybody. Very, very welcome to another fantastic episode of the Arsenal Lounge. It's great to have you, Tom and Lev back. How are you guys doing?
Happy as.
Very good.
Yeah, you happy to be back, Lev?
Yes, I'm happy to be back, and it's a good time to be back after two back-to-back wins.
Yes, it's all
yeah.
positivity today.
It is. It is, and I'm
Yeah,
starting
apparently
to
Mo's
think.
going to have a go at me as well. So
I'm starting to think your curtains are lucky because every time you bring the board back, we lose. But then when these curtains come back into play, we win. So I'm saying Shamak's curtains are where it's at. Return of Shamak.
He's not amused, is he? That's actually a brilliant chant. Lev, return of Shamak. Why was that never a thing?
I would have had it, but he wasn't worthy of it, so I sort of backed off from it. Otherwise, you know, it's bad enough with sort of the song police around at the moment. So
Yeah, true. But you know what? Talking about chants and stuff, like I do really, really love an original chant. You know when like you have same old chants or the same old tunes and different fans of clubs repurpose it. That's good, fine, you know, but when you have your own unique chant, there's nothing like it. I love
we've
that.
had more original ones recently. Since we've had Saka and Smith Rowe, we've had that's one of my favourites in a long time. The Martinelli one's new.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, good
I
shout.
always wanted to use the Wham one for Sonogo. I was hoping he was going to come good with "Wake Me Up, Yaya Sonogo." That would
There's
have
a
been
Martin
really
Odegaard
good.
one that hasn't caught yet. I can't remember how it is, but it's
I haven't
really
heard that,
good.
Tom.
You need to look it up because it's quite good, but it hasn't.
my
been
favourite
caught
one
yet.
was Dennis Bergkamp. Walking along, singing a song, walking into work.
Do you know that song is used for loads of chants?
Yeah.
Though. That's when
Oh,
you
it
know
was-
Shaheen.
I like that for Dennis Bergkamp.
Yeah,
okay.
but
That's
you know,
when I was going to
You
Arsenal.
like that song, but with Dennis Bergkamp in it.
Yeah. Tom, how you feeling? You good?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good indeed. Very glad to be back. I mean, it's a nice one to come back for. I shouldn't miss them. Well, basically, what happens is when I miss them is we lose. So, apologies for that. And I'm back for good now. Fingers crossed.
Oh
Yeah.
God!
Very good. Mo, how about yourself?
yeah, man, I'm good. I cannot wait to get stuck in to some of your comments from last week, Jaheem. I cannot wait to talk about where you were, what you were saying last week.
Oh, was that? I was the only one, was that?
He says the best things off camera.
It's just these two weren't there. I'm sure they would have said the same thing.
Listen, mate,
I want to focus on the fact that who's the only one who predicted a Chelsea win. I'm just going to put that out there because
You did. Fair play to you.
Well, you know what? Let's start from there because let's see how we are on a prediction table. I think it's pretty much as you were, except Tom has just got 1 point.
so well, what were all the Man United predictions? Because only Tom got Chelsea, so he got a point there.
Everyone,
we all said
Tom
we were going to win.
predicted 3-0 Arsenal for Man United.
Okay.
I said 2-1 Arsenal. I think Mo said 2-0 Arsenal.
Yeah.
And Lev said 1-0 Arsenal.
Yeah. So we all got a point.
Okay. So we all got a
And for
point.
Chelsea, me, Lev, and Mo predicted a loss. Tom said 1-0 Arsenal.
All right, hold on. On the game before the Chelsea, what one was the game before Chelsea?
Southampton.
Southampton.
Yeah, we're up to
I
date
was
on that.
the only one that got a point on that one, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
said
well
we
done.
lose 1-0, didn't you? Yeah.
You're
I
still
just want to
bottom
know
of the league.
where am I? That's what I was going to ask.
Still
Lev is
Well,
fighting hard for that 1 point, you know.
Wait. I am doing the relegation fight at the bottom of the table.
What is the table?
Shaheen on 9 points and 2 perfect scores at the top.
I don't know how.
Tom on
Shamak's
9
curtain.
points with 1 perfect score in second place.
Yeah.
Tom
Myself,
is on 9 points as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you've got 2 correct results, you're above scores. You're above me. Yeah, goal difference.
I'm on 7 points in third with 1 perfect score. And our very generous friend who's going to be dipping into his wallet at your most glamorous London restaurant in some point in May or June, Lev on 6 points with 1 perfect score.
Shukran Kebab House.
To be
Big
fair,
shout out
though,
to you as well.
that shows how close it is because he's a correct score from going joint top. Like,
Wait,
it's-
I'm not being
yeah.
funny, but it's all a matter of perception, guys. Yeah, I look at it as I've gained 1 on 3 of you, a couple of weeks back. So it's
Yeah.
just all to play for, guys. All to play
It's
for.
very close. I have to admit.
We'll come to the predictions obviously again later.
I think it's going to be Shaheen, but there you go.
Listen, I will gladly take the loss now, and I'll take you guys out for dinner.
Whoever comes
No
bottom, by the way,
Okay,
gets
then.
replaced by Dan
Done.
Potts next season.
Excellent. All right, so
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
it's finished now. Then, yeah, it's finished
I'll
now.
take
So
you
then
guys
you're paying for
somewhere
it, yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm done.
No, look, he knows he's losing. That's why he's like, oh, Shaheen is taking.
Of course, I know I'm losing. They just told
Anyway,
me.
But it's mad.
a
isn't
lot
it?
happened. Sorry.
Arsenal have just beat Man United at home. We all predicted that, yet none of us got a perfect score.
Oh, no, it's
Yeah.
bad.
Table's
Tom was the
completely
closest.
different.
3-0, he said.
Well, what's closer, getting the amount of goals we score or getting the margin of victory, which is what I got.
Yeah, I think that it's going to come close because you look at the 5 games we got left, and I'm sure it's something we'll talk about. But you can't really see. I wouldn't predict Arsenal losing like right now. The West Ham game, and I know we'll come on to it at the end, but there's so many contexts to that.
Whilst we're doing this, should we just get this over and done with? What are your prediction for West Ham game, Tom?
My prediction is 3-0 Arsenal.
Mo?
Wow. Do you know what? The way this is actually meant to work, let me just tell you, is that the person at the top of the table is meant to go first.
Then it
Yeah,
goes down.
I'll go first. No problem.
But it's too late now because he's done it. So how can you go first when he's just
2-1
giving you his
Arsenal.
prediction? You can't just. Should we just erase our memories?
Yeah, I'll go again. Go on, Shaheen. Go on.
My prediction was 2-1 Arsenal.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, 3-0 for me.
I think 2-0 Arsenal.
I'll take the 1-0 Arsenal then.
Okay.
So no one's going for West Ham or draw.
No,
If you don't want to go for a draw, Lev.
They're
Draw sounds
decimated.
good, you know.
They're decimated at the back. And
Yeah,
they're
but a
trying
draw,
to-
Lev. If you go for a draw, that might get you on the table, man.
Yeah, I think you should go for a draw, Lev.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
really. Did I really?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right,
Then.
let's move on. So a lot has happened since last time me and Mo done a show. It was a little bit of a doom and gloom. We're out of the top 4 race, at the back of three losses to teams that we should have really beaten, and then we go to Stamford Bridge and we get a result like that, and then we'll beat Man United at home. So let's start with the Stamford Bridge one because we haven't talked about this. How big was that result, Mo?
I mean, it was just ridiculous. But the result was huge, and I guess that's the question you've asked: how big was the result?
Yeah,
absolutely massive. 4 defeats in a row. It would have just, really, really, let's face it, broken our season. We are lucky in that Tottenham, being Tottenham, they've been Spursy, they've lost and drawn their last 2 games, and so what would have followed would have been a Tottenham defeat, which perhaps would have salvaged something. But right now we sit here, and I cannot believe I'm saying this again. We sit here, in my view, as favourites for that 4th spot. When after those 3 defeats, we were favourites before those 3 defeats. And after that, I thought, that's it. We've blown our season. We've pressed self-destruct. And, whilst there's always a chance, I did not think I'd be sitting here today. It's only by virtue of that massive result against Chelsea. And then obviously we've followed that up back-to-back with the one against United. And we'll get into the details more. But actually, I think that it's not the performances that have been huge. It's the results that have been huge. And after you guys have had your say as well, I'll explain what I mean by that a little bit more. But yeah, just beautiful. What a lovely week for Arsenal.
I'm gonna come back to these. We'll go into details of these 2 fixtures. Tom, I've criticised Eddie Nketiah quite a lot before.
Same.
Is he the reason we're back into top 4 race?
Yeah, we scored 2 goals against Chelsea. Of course he is. He's the reason we're back in it. I think, and you have to give Arteta credit for picking him, because how many of us would have done that? We were saying...
To be fair, after the Palace game, I said I'll bring back Nketiah.
Yeah, I think that a lot of fans, though, would have been asking for Martinelli to go at striker, or I was saying maybe we should move Pepe into striker. I wasn't really saying Nketiah. I was saying anyone over Lacazette, to be fair, by this point.
We did a show, sorry to interrupt you, but we did a show with Levan, and we both agreed that the first goal, when what's that guy, Christensen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when he messed up, we both agreed Lacazette is not getting that ball.
He hasn't got the speed. Like, or,
Yeah.
you know, he's not your type to run with the ball at all. Whereas Nketiah is. Like, who was the covering defender? Was it Malang Sarr?
Yeah.
I think. And
Yeah, it was.
Malang Sarr would beat Lacazette in that race, whereas Nketiah, people underrate that finish because he has to get ahead of Malang Sarr, and his movement as well after he does to then take the time to take that extra touch and then give himself the angle. You know, it's a really, really good goal from him, and people will say it was a gift, and it was, but he has a lot of work to do from that point, and he does it really, really well. That said, I don't want to bleed into the Man United game too much, but the chance that he had when he was fed through by, I think it was Odegaard, and then smashed the ball at De Gea, it's that moment that tells you that's the difference between us having, you know, an okay striker in Nketiah, and we know he's an okay striker. I think he'd be able to play at the lower end of the Premier League, to be honest, and start a lot of games or the top end of the Championship. But that's the difference between Nketiah and your world-class strikers, your Osimhen's, your Nunez's, all these players that are going to hopefully come in the summer, Gabriel Jesus, which maybe we'll talk about later. These types of players that in those moments, they will finish. And he just smacked it because the pressure got to him. He was like, I hit it as hard as I can and crossed my fingers. But actually, he should have been more controlled and put it in the bottom left-hand corner, and he wasn't able to do that. So Nketiah is the reason that we're back in. Sorry, Mo, go on.
To be fair to him, Tom, I was going to say the finish where he was offside and then VAR came back for the penalty. He finished that off quite nicely.
He did.
So
yeah, composed.
But yeah, you know, you expect centrally in front of goal, that close to goal, both of those should be going in. So I get your point.
Absolutely, yeah. But he is the reason, Shaheen, that we're back in the top 4 race, because without him starting at striker, without him getting those goals, without him fighting and battling to get that second goal and fighting for that chance, yes, it was fortuitous and bad defending, but you know, he has to take that chance, and he did. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think with him being there, it gives us something that we didn't have. It gives
energy.
us like energy, or a finisher in the box, because like I said, for the past most of this season actually, he's been dropping off to midfield and playing more or less like a number 10, supplying balls through for nobody, because he is the one who's supposed to be there now. And Nketiah is there and he's got a finish in the box. Lev, sorry, how was you feeling about the Chelsea game?
Well, as everyone else has said here, rightly so. Obviously, Tom did guess that, you know, he's predicted we'd win, which was surprising to me. But it was more the fact that no one expected a 4-2. I mean, we do have to admit Chelsea did shoot themselves in their foot a couple of times along with that. And, you know, Mo sort of touched on it a little bit earlier. We'll go into it in a bit more detail. Despite the positive results, there is real room for improvement in certain areas for sure. I do, you know, it did shock me. The result shocked me. 4 goals shocked me, but it was pivotal to giving us not just the 3 points, but the confidence to go forward to the next game against someone like United. Although they're not sort of the top side they used to be, they're still Man United, and it's still a heated game. And that game was heated. Don't take, you know, don't think it was a simple, easy, cushy game. They wanted that game. I do having Nketiah up top, yes, has made a difference. It is his energy that makes the difference. I do still believe he's not what we require moving forward, but he will help get us through, hopefully, the remainder of the season. I think even more pivotal to me was the return of El Neni with Xhaka, because had he done that earlier in the 3 games prior, I think we would have had different results from those 3 games. You could have said maybe 6. Imagine we got 6, even just 6 points out of those 3 games we lost. So I do think that El Neni coming back in the middle with Xhaka has been a pivotal point of change. It screens our back 4 a lot better. He does a lot of the donkey work. And yes, the energy with Nketiah up top, it might just see us through. And I'm starting to believe again. So, you know, it's positive. No?
Yeah. I like to ask you guys these simple yes or no questions. So I'll start with Tom with a yes or no, please. Should Fernandes have been sent off?
Yeah. Easy.
Mo?
Yeah.
Lev?
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So full house then. Mo, which one was a bigger result, Man United or the Chelsea game?
Chelsea. Away from home, against better opposition, off the back of 3 defeats. Absolutely was. And, you know, the reason why I said earlier that the result was kind of bigger than the performance, actually, do you know what? The performance wasn't that great. And I actually don't think either of the performances have been great performances against the teams, Chelsea and United. And the thing is, against both of these teams, in both games, I think one thing that we haven't really touched upon as a fan base, because clearly we are getting carried away. We're buzzing after being starved of points in the international break in our season on the verge of collapse. One thing we haven't really spoken about is the fact that in both of these games, the first goal of the game was absolutely gifted to us. And I think that has been really, really crucial. I wonder, off the back of 3 defeats, had we gifted Chelsea a goal like they gifted us, would we have had the reserves and the belief to come back and get something out of the game? We have been very, very fortunate. And that's not me taking anything away from our players, because there's still a lot of minutes to play after that happens. You know, the Christensen thing happened early in that game against Chelsea. And the first goal Arsenal scored against United, where Varane and completely
Lindelof.
missed it, you know.
Oh, Tellez, sorry. Yeah.
Tellez, yeah. That happened very early in the game as well. So you still have to play the majority of the game and rise up to that lead that you've taken and to maintain it. We haven't always done that very well. I think these last 2 games do show us that we have been a bit shaky. Against Chelsea, twice we gave away the lead. Against United, that second goal, after our second goal, very quickly after that, we conceded. It was an awful goal to concede. I think it does show there are some cracks. We're not playing with absolute consummate confidence, and we have struggled for goals since the international break, as we saw in our 3 defeats. The fact that these goals were gifted to us, I don't think the fan base have really spoken about just how much of a benefit that was to us.
Yeah.
So
No,
hopefully now that's enough to turn the tide and to get wind in our sails. But boy, you know, they were huge moments in our season.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with you. You know, on both games, getting an early goal always helps. For me, the Man United game, the best part of the day for me was Fernandes missing that penalty. I genuinely don't like him. I really don't like Fernandes. And I'm surprised that with Ronaldo being on the pitch, he stepped up to take that penalty. Sometimes, you know, you come to a conclusion sometimes that certain things is written for you. And I just think this top 4 is written for Arsenal this season, because we seem to be pressing that self-destruct button so hard, but yet we're still in it, and other teams seems to be pressing it harder than us. So that's one thing. Lev, what do you make of, for the past 2 games, you know, a lot has been said about Tavares. You know, he's sucked off quite a few times in previous games. What did you make of him in the past 2 games?
Look, I was just going to mention that, actually. I mean, there's no doubting that had we had Kieran Tierney at left back, some of these goals would have been avoided. Quite a few of the goals since Tavares has come back has centered around Tavares. Think about it. He played at the Palace game. A couple of goals were down to him. There was another game where he got beaten. Oh yeah, even the Chelsea game, he got beaten by Azpilicueta, cutting across him, getting there first and putting it in. He was at fault for that. There was another situation very similar to, what game was it, where Gabriel tried to cover for a Tavares? Was that the Palace game? Yeah. So that Gabriel Tavares miscommunication there happened again in that goal against Man United when we were 2 up, and either of those 2 guys could have got to that ball before Ronaldo, but they sat there and they allowed him to come in between both of them. Tavares on one side, Gabriel on the other. So there is concern with Tavares there. On the other hand, though, you know, he did score a goal. I think with some games, a run of games, he will get better, but it's just a crucial time right now. You know, we can't afford any mistakes. So this is a question I was asking as well. If Tomiyasu is fit, what does Arteta then do? Does he replace Cedric with Tomiyasu and keep Tavares? Does he go to a flat back 3, maybe against Spurs, with Tomiyasu in there? I mean, I'd like to hear your opinions, but yeah, I mean, Tavares at the moment is a bit shady, isn't he?
Yeah, I think if he was going to go to a back 3, I think he would bring Holding. I don't think he would put Tavares. Tomiyasu.
Well, Tomiyasu's played centre back.
No, I know he has. But from what I've seen of him so far, not Holding, the manager. Every time he's gone to the back 3, he brings Rob Holding on. I agree with your assessment of this fullback situation, and the only thing that sometimes I'm puzzled about Tavares, and I don't know if you guys have noticed it as well. I've noticed at times he gets the ball, and it's just he's running into nowhere. See, it seems. Or against the Man United game, I remember he was running on the left-hand side, and he actually went past Eddie Nketiah. Well, maybe the pass was on for him to play Eddie Nketiah through. There was a couple of other times that he got the ball and he started dribbling everybody at the edge of Man United's box, and he lost the ball. I don't know if you guys noticed on that as well.
I noticed Cedric was just as bad, if not worse, in that game.
Yeah, it was. He's lucky. Do you think that was a penalty, by the way, with the handball?
No,
I think it was quite accidental, no?
I thought he was going down and holding himself up with his arm, and it just hit his arm.
The thing is, it absolutely, when you look at it, looks like it should be a penalty because it's such a clear touch on the arm, right? But actually, that's the distraction. That's not the rule. The fact is, he's trying to keep himself active in play. And in order to do so, once he's gone to ground, his hands are in a natural position there. He's not outstretching them or anything. And as Tom said, he's holding himself up. And I think that's what the rule is. Now, whether the rules should allow a player to do that or not is one thing. But in accordance with the rules, it's just not a penalty.
For me, the Tavares one on Olenga was a little bit more contentious. And Tavares was...
I agree. Yeah.
He was struggling with Olenga. He was really struggling with him, Tavares.
If that had been given, I wouldn't have really complained about it.
I think we got away with that one.
But to be fair to him, it didn't happen after that again.
No,
he kind of managed to control because if I was Olenga or anybody in my midfield, I would be like, right, listen, that's the run, right? So you need to be playing. We were playing a long ball. You just target Tavares and just try to go past it, and it didn't happen again.
That's a fantastic point. When I was at the ground and we saw that, me and the people that I was watching the game with, because we were in the North Bank, it happened right in front of us on the left-hand side. All of us were saying, "Oh God, they're going to target him now," because he didn't just have him for pace; he absolutely destroyed him for pace. And I just thought to myself, this is surprising, as the game progressed, that they haven't gone and targeted that more. Then again, Cedric was having a difficult game, and they seemed to prefer Sancho on Cedric. But I thought El Neni did really well to kind of double up at times there and to help him out. But I'm surprised they didn't target Tavares more.
Just lastly on the Tavares situation, I think that Tavares will benefit from Tomiyasu coming back a hell of a lot more. I think think back to when Tavares was in the team in the first half of the season in the games against like Watford, Newcastle, Aston Villa, and Leicester City away. Tomiyasu, was the right back in those games, and that kind of balance. And when Tavares goes forwards, the whole kind of back three that's left behind shuffles over to cover that space. I think that's going to help us a lot. So I think it's the perfect time to get Tomiyasu back.
I agree. And massive respect to Mohamed El Neni in the past 2 games. He's put in really good performances and he's fasting as well. And that is not an easy thing, as Mr. Haidar will tell you. Sorry, we've got a super chat. True Gunners TV, Brandon. Thank you very much for your super chat, my friend. As long as we do our job in the next 2 games, I don't see Spurs beating Leicester or Liverpool. So therefore, the North London derby won't be as significant.
I hope so.
Thank you very much, Brendan. And you guys keep an eye. We're going to do some stuff with Brendan going forward as well. That's a great point. And it brings me nicely to discuss the top 4 situation now. Because actually, before I discuss the top 4 situation, I'm going to give Mo his 2-3 minutes of having a go at me if he wants. So, Mo, it's all yours. Go for it. And I'll just sit down and listen.
Perfect. So, last week, it was just me and Shaheen. I didn't have the wisdom of Lev and the charm of Tom to puncture the absolute drivel that our Shamak curtain-owning friend produces on a weekly basis. He had the audacity to tell me, our season is over. This is the quote from Jaheen. Our season is over. And I just couldn't take that. I was like, no. On one hand, I'm not saying that I think we're going to go and beat Chelsea, and then I think we're going to go and beat Man United. But I did say, listen, you cannot say, I think we're 3 points behind Tottenham at that stage, with the North London derby on the horizon. You cannot say our season is over. This is the reactionary, immature, clickbait stuff that belongs on other channels, Mr. Shaheen, is unacceptable. This is a faithful, We are the faithful. That's what we're meant to be here on the Arsenal Lounge, okay? We're meant to believe in our team. We're meant to believe, have that glimmer of hope that it's always possible that the boys can upset the odds, even surprise us and go and do the business. And you let yourself down. And I'm very, very happy to say those 4 words, those lovely, lovely 4 words. I told you so.
Do you know what the funniest thing, Mo?
I'm holding my head down in shame,
He's
Mo.
not even looked at you. He can't get eye contact. That's the best thing about all of this. There was no eye contact.
He should not be allowed to enjoy these performances. To say our season is over, can you imagine if the players had that mentality? We're meant to be the 12th man. I can't believe it. Disgraceful.
Yeah.
That's my piece done.
You're done now. You feel better. You let it all out now.
Do you know what? I would happily sit back and watch that again. If you want to go, that was just brilliant.
I have a feeling
This
is going to get clipped and come out either on our page or Mo's page.
That is my favourite. Can we timestamp that one? 100%. If you got that written down, Tom, please.
23:31. Mo's destroys Shaheen.
Yeah, Mo destroys
What have you
Shaheen.
got to say for yourself?
Yeah.
Nothing. At the time, I was so disappointed in those 3 losses that I could not see a way forward. Forgive me, please.
What I would say is
sorry.
that
I'll go put the pie in the oven now.
we talked about how bad we were, like saying we weren't great against Chelsea and United. The thing is that the games we played against Brighton and Southampton, we've played those games and won before. We've played performances like that and won. It wasn't like it wasn't the Palace game 2 times over. There was errors, we couldn't take our chances, but we dominated Southampton and we should have taken the chance that we created for ourselves. The Brighton game we were unlucky. I know that we were our own enemies with the team selection and Arteta got that wrong. But the Martinelli offside call just for half time, they couldn't tell that was a clear and obvious error. They couldn't get the right, the lines on that. So if that goes and counts and we scored for half time, we probably go on to win that game quite comfortably and go into the Southampton game with much better confidence. But the fact that we've managed to get these 2 results, going now into this top 4 race, which I know where you want to take the conversation, Shaheen, it's that confidence is huge. And I think when we've got the context of, and when Brandon put up his super chat earlier, I don't think that Spurs will lose to Leicester, because I think that Leicester's Europa Conference commitments on Thursday will, mean they're going to heavily rotate, and I think that Spurs will have enough to beat them. But in the same sense, the game when we play West Ham have got to play Frankfurt on Thursday, and they've now got Dawson suspended for that game as well, and they've got no fit centre-backs, possibly no fit centre-backs that game. Yeah. We really should be winning against West Ham. And the thing is if we win our next 2 games, and I know people don't like looking ahead and getting ahead of ourselves, but if we win our next 2 games against West Ham and Leeds, and Spurs just drop points, that means draw or lose
I can
in
see
either
them
of their
points at Anfield, Tom.
Yeah, if they drop points at Anfield, it means if we win the North London derby, we qualify for the Champions League.
What a way to do it. Tom, you've set that up so well.
That's like that season that we won the league there. Just before I move on.
Oh, it's a bit different. it's a little bit different, Jay.
But it will be as sweet as that.
I know what you mean.
With that. Just before I move on to the conversation, just going back on when Mo was having a go at me on my defense, everybody predicted a loss at Chelsea except Tom. So moving on from there.
One game's not a season, Shaheen.
Yeah, well, we're talking about that game.
Yeah. Wait, on another note, though, Mo, just to get a little dig back.
Anyway,
Mo said in earlier on his tweets that we were going to draw the West Ham game, but he's predicted a win on the show.
No. What I was doing, that was not my predictions. That's me kind of saying that even if this were to happen, we're still going to finish forward. That's what I'm kind of spelling out there.
Thanks for clarifying that, Mo.
Yeah, because I did this earlier where I just kind of did our 5 games, how many points we've got, how many points we can get from the 5, and the same for Tottenham and where we'd all end up. And honestly, like Thomas just articulated there as well, actually is really in our favour. Mm-hmm. We can even, it doesn't, I could have done the draw on any game, West Ham or Everton, whatever, but the fact is we can afford to draw. We can afford to, draw a couple of games basically, provided Tottenham drop points against Liverpool. We should be okay.
If we win the derby.
The tricky thing is goal difference. Even if we draw the derby, if Tottenham win the games they're expected, draw the derby, but get a draw against Liverpool, and Arsenal draw one game and win the rest, then they'll take us on goal difference. And so we still need to be clinical. We still need to make sure that we've even got that angle covered. There's too much riding on it. Can you imagine missing out on the riches of the Champions League and what that will do for our transfer window and the trajectory of Arteta's work and his project? Imagine missing out on all of that because of flipping goal difference.
Yeah.
Well, I think 6 points. If we get the next 2 games, if we got 6 points from these next 2 games, I really think that puts us in a ridiculously strong place. Because if they do drop points against Liverpool,
but Lev, remember, I mean, I don't particularly like saying this, but Tottenham are capable of putting that Man City away performance in Anfield.
Yeah.
You know, Antonio Conte is capable of going to Anfield.
Liverpool need that win, don't they? They
Spurs are
need
capable,
that.
they've done it
Liverpool
time and
need
time
that
again.
win. And so
I know that.
I think if Spurs need to get 3 points if they can, or try not to lose, but I just think Liverpool got too much for them. I really do. I think they'll get 3 points.
Yeah, I agree with you. But in the same time, you've got to. You know, I would not be surprised if they go to Anfield and they get something out of the game because Conte is capable of, pulling something out of the bag. So overall, how are we feeling now? We feel top 4 again is back on in our hand. It's ours to lose.
Yeah, it's ours to lose. It's in our hands. So yeah, it is ours to lose. Yeah.
That's very good. I agree with you. And
is the season not over now? Is the season not over?
It's done. Huh? It's over. It's finished.
Could I renew my Sky Sports subscription and all that? Because I cancelled it all based on your.
You're not funny, though. I just wanted to say something for the Man United game when I was just talking about it and I forgot. And I just want to say this to everybody out there in the comments, especially Tom Canton here. Martin Odegaard was really good against Man United. So
hold on, timestamp 31:47.
Listen, I've given him credit before when he's done well, and I've criticised him when he hasn't done well.
Did you see that stat?
United, I thought he was
Did
really
you see
good.
the stat that came up the other day that he's created more chances
Yes, I saw
than
that. I
Kevin
knew
De
you were bringing
Bruyne and Fernandes?
Yeah, and we still haven't scored many goals, which is crazy.
Tells you how much we need a striker, doesn't it?
The thing
talking
is
about strikers, Tom. Sorry, Mo.
I was just going to say, the thing is with Odegaard as well, there's some chance creations, like, for example, the assist he got for Smith Rowe. That'll go down as a chance created. The reality is there's not a lot of technical brilliance involved in that, but it's the way he does things. Like, it's very easy to not get an assist there if the ball isn't the perfect weight, in the perfect place, in a player's stride. He's a very, very tidy player. And that's why he gets a lot of these chances that he creates, because a different player with a little less elegance to him might not play that pass so perfectly that Emil Smith-Rowe can just rock up and pass it into the back of net like it's a training session. Yeah. And then on top of that, doing the simple things really, really well and in a really silky way, he's also now getting a bit more penetrative with his passing as well. Yeah. I feel like he's getting in between, in like through a defense and finding strikers as well. So I think he's really adding to his game, even at this stage of the season. And
both those chances, Eddie's chance that he missed and the penalty that ended up being a penalty, both of those were Odegaard's through balls, weren't they?
Yeah. I hope.
On that note, I'm going to go and get. I'm going to go break my fast.
Continue.
I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah. Mo's going to break fast.
If the football can do it, so can I. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so I just want to thank Martin Smith, for reminding me that we won the league in White Hart Lane 1971 as well. But it will be very good for us to finish this whole top 4 business at White Hart Lane, their new stadium. It will just be. It's one of those things that I don't really care how we do it. That it could be a shitty 1-0 win. I'll take that, just so we can do this in their ground and. It will just be a sweet. Tom, you're the best person to discuss this with until Mo comes back.
No, right. Don't worry about me then. I'm just.
No, you're going to see what I mean. Odegaard is. There's an argument to say we're not getting the best out of him, or we're not seeing the best of Martin Odegaard because we don't have a striker, because we don't have anybody for him to literally play through and give or provide assist to. Would Gabriel Jesus solve this problem?
Oh, it's a good question. I think he would solve it to an extent. I think he would certainly add to what Martin Odegaard can provide. To be honest, it's a weird one. I think Martin Odegaard's, I think he's a world-class talent. I don't think he's a world-class player. I think he's got the capabilities of becoming a world-class player. So he's doing what he will do if we have that world-class striker. The only difference that you would say is that we'd have a player possibly making better runs, better movement, opening up spaces for Odegaard to find him with. That's what you would look at. Gabriel Jesus, when that link first dropped, I was shocked at the level of opposition to the idea of it from so many Arsenal fans. I wouldn't say from my community specifically, because we put a poll up and I think 80% of people in our chat box said they would take him. But when I was looking through social media that day, there were so many fans saying, no, not good enough. He's a backup striker at best. And I agree in the sense that we should be looking to bring in 2 forwards. And I don't think Gabriel Jesus alone is enough. But to turn your nose up at a player that plays very regularly for Manchester City, that is, getting into that team, is trusted by Pep Guardiola, has been working with that perfect system with a title-winning side. And we've been looking at players and thinking, if we sign a player, we should be looking at them to be able to be good enough to get into that Liverpool team and good enough to get into that Manchester City team. Because that's how we close the gap. It's by getting players that would be playing for City and would be playing for Liverpool. Well, Jesus has been playing for City, and been playing a lot for City. I think he's got, over 200 odd appearances for Manchester City at this point. The only reason that they're happy to move him on is because they're arguably getting the next generational talent in the summer in Erling Haaland. And we're not going to be able to get Haaland into the club ourselves because we're not in a position to be able to compete for that type of transfer yet. Hopefully one day we will be. So if you're able to take the guy that is being replaced by what people consider to be the next Ronaldo-Messi rivalry of Mbappe and Haaland for the next 10 years, why on earth would we turn our noses up at that? I really don't get it.
He's certainly a lot better than what we have right now. A lot better than what we have right
miles
now.
Better.
And just before I'll go to Lev, because I'm going to give him a little time to eat and break his fast. What's the latest on this Jesus thing, by the way, Tom?
I mean, the latest is, according to David Ornstein, is that talks between Edu and his representatives have been going on for months and for a long time, to the point where there's even some reporters claiming that there's an agreement between Arsenal and Jesus. The thing that now has to happen is the end of the season. The end of the season will then begin talks between Arsenal and Manchester City about a deal. That I don't think that will happen until the season's finished, because Man City are so focused on, the Champions League and the Premier League title race that they won't be. And Jesus did an interview today in which he came out and said that he's not interested in talking about his future. He's interested in getting, and fighting for the title this season with City. But I'd give this a solid 9 out of 10 in terms of likelihoods. I think it's got all the makings of a deal that will happen. Obviously, things can change, and who knows, if we don't get Champions League football, maybe that will change it. But all of the things that you're hearing right now and all of the things that are going on, it makes me very confident that this is a deal that will happen.
Okay. Lev, how do you feel about Jesus coming to Arsenal?
From what I've seen of him, I think he'll be a good fit. I think there's more to come from him in a sense of scoring goals. I think he's maybe had to. It's difficult getting into the City side regularly. So I hear what Tom's saying. It makes perfect sense in a sense of, like, is he better than Eddie Nketiah? Yes, damn well he damn well is. Is he better than what we have? Lacazette? Yes, he is. Is he? So why wouldn't we grab him? I mean, I don't think he should be like the marquee signing centre forward that we're looking for. I think we need somebody of that ilk of the sort of Vlahovic type that we were looking at. We need someone like that. So maybe an alternative to someone like Jesus as well. So basically, or Jesus, or whatever you want to call him, but 2 strikers, one a bit bigger, target man, gives offer something different, and someone like Jesus, I'd be happy with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I ask you what's his biggest attribute, would you know?
His work rate, his movement, he gets in the box really well. He always finds spaces in the box. He's tight. He could turn tight and get a shot in from different places. And he
Finishing
can
is good
finish.
as well.
Yeah, he can finish.
Mo, if we were to get Gabriel Jesus, which looks likely by all accounts from what Tom is saying and based on what Lev's assessment of him, he will be a good squad player. And Lev has just said we'll probably need a different type of player. Would Tammy Abraham be the separate card? Because that's the other name that we've been linked with. It was Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think after the season that he's had, I don't think there will be anything from Arsenal there. But how do you feel about Tammy Abraham coming to Arsenal?
I've never really been convinced by Tammy Abraham. He, if I'm not mistaken, he did really, really well in the Championship, didn't he? And then he was leading the line for Chelsea when they had that transfer ban, and he did okay. When he went to Roma, I wasn't sad. There were rumours about Arsenal. I felt quite relieved, actually, that we haven't got him. I didn't view him as a top-level centre-forward, and I don't view him as technically talented as Gabriel Jesus. So I have to admit, I think Tammy Abraham has performed much better than I expected at Roma, and he certainly made me question my initial assessment of him. But if I had to go for Gabriel or Tammy, I'd go for Gabriel.
Would you have them both? Or would you have Gabriel and then go for like a Darwin Núñez type of player, or somebody else?
Well, the problem is, like Lev was saying, I fully agree with him, that we need the target man type and also, the little intricate presser, mobile team player and finisher as well. So I don't think Darwin Núñez and Jesus give you that. Núñez isn't a target man. So maybe Tammy Abraham could be more of that. But, I kind of want... It's funny that Arsenal fans have come full circle and we're saying this now, but I feel a lot of people have said this season. Kind of a Giroud type would be quite useful in our team.
Do you think there's anything to be said about the fact that neither Manchester City nor Liverpool have had so much success without an out-and-out number 9?
Yeah, it's a really good point. It is a very good point. But
I think it's the way they play, Tom.
But they've got world-class midfielders, world-class technicians.
World-class fullbacks as well.
Yeah,
Robertson and Robertson and Trent, they produce quite a lot for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we get if we get Abraham and Jesus, we've got a really strong biblical theme going on as well up front. That might hold us in good stead.
We've got Odegaard as well. You have to remember too. So
of course, I can always forget.
Is he biblical?
I just think
Odegaard likes to play up.
Oh right, okay.
Oh god,
yes,
that was really bad. That one.
I'm so sorry.
Listen, I feel we can't move away from Saturday's game without at least talking about Granit Xhaka.
Yeah.
And what has been. I saw a tweet from somebody. I can't remember who somebody. He said he's probably one of our most important players, at least this season. And I was really happy for him when he scored that goal, and how he was received by fans. And apparently after the game when he was leaving, there was a lot of fans that were trying to speak to him, get his signature, which is nice to see, because that's one thing that he was saying in his interview, that he feels the disconnect between the fan base. Whether we like it right now or not, with what we have at the moment, and especially when Partey is not playing, Granit Xhaka is a very, very important member of this team. Wouldn't you agree, Mo?
Yeah. And also, I'd kind of say, it's a shame that you have to start that by saying whether you like it or not. Why would Arsenal fans not like it? This is what always confuses me. Isn't what we should all want just the most efficient, easiest route to success? And that is the current people at the club being brilliant. Why would we want it to be such a convoluted route to success? That no, we don't want Xhaka to do well. He has to leave, and then someone else has to be signed. We have to get them in, and they have to do well. Why can't it just be the guy that's already there? That's where I feel like fans. If you are that sort of person, where actually you didn't like to see Granit Xhaka doing well, then you need to kind of assess what's more important to you: Arsenal's success or you being right in front of your mates or on social media. So I was very happy for Granit Xhaka. I still feel like, it'll never be forgotten what happened between him and the fans in October 2019. But I think the fans have shown that actually they're willing to just forget about that. Whether they're forgiven is a different story. And I think that in his bad times, that comes to the fore, that potentially we haven't forgiven, because people are quite quick to criticize, perhaps quicker than others. And I feel like that's the legacy of what happened. But it shows that fans are happy to forget, give him his due. And he is walking off the pitch blowing kisses to fans. It's great stuff.
Yeah, it's always nice to see. You know what? I think when it comes to Granit Xhaka, I think his leadership and the way he's speaking to everybody and arranging everybody on the pitch is really good. But also, I have a theory when it comes to Granit Xhaka, and maybe we'll explain why he is the way he is at Arsenal. When we bought Granit Xhaka under Arsene Wenger, Granit Xhaka was known for a tough tackling midfielder in German league. He was getting the first share of red cards, etc. And he still has a very, very good shot on him, as we saw on Saturday, right? So I remember we bought him over, and it almost felt like in the first season he was told, don't tackle. Because I don't know if you guys remember, we were really struggling in central midfield for physical presence. And it was between him and Conte, and everybody's like, oh, Xhaka, some people Conte, this, that. And then we ended up getting Granit Xhaka. I almost feel we'll bring him over, and then we stripped him of two of his best qualities. One, we told him, don't tackle, because that was not really something that players did under Arsene Wenger. Two, we told him, don't take a shot from outside the box, because that's another thing we didn't do under Arsene Wenger. So it was a player that was left with the mistakes that he had. So an average player that was left with a lot of mistakes in a league. And that's why he hasn't looked good for him so far. That's my theory on Granit Xhaka, and I'll put it to three of you to see what you think. Tom, you can go first.
I think you're spot on. I really think that had we have built around him much better when he arrived, I really don't think you would see the opinion of Granit Xhaka that we have now. Like when we had Granit Xhaka, we consistently made poor recruitment decisions at the back. Like Koscielny was reaching the end of his career. We didn't replace well enough at centre-back. Mustafi and Socrates came in. Kolasinac came in. Monreal's coming towards the end of his career. At right-back, obviously, Bellerin you had there as well. Not exactly defensively secure. We had a goalkeeping situation with Cech, who never really improved upon what he was when he joined. Leno as well, I think, is an okay goalkeeper, a decent goalkeeper, but not of the level that we needed. I think that Xhaka ultimately has had a time of his career where, he's probably been one of the best players in the team, but we've just not had... and I think that probably tells you a lot about the rest of the team around him than it maybe does him. But at the same time, this season and last season, I think he's been really, really top. I mean, he was our standout midfielder last season without a shadow of a doubt. And this season, I mean, outside of Liverpool, Manchester City and Kovacic, I struggle to think of a centre midfielder that has been better. It's been better than Neves, better than Tielemans. I'd argue he's been better than Kante and Jorginho this season. I think they both have been quite poor this year, to be honest. So, and if you were saying to me who would I rather start for us against West Ham, Kante or Jorginho or Tielemans or Neves or Xhaka, I'd pick Xhaka of those because that's the level of form that he's on right now. Declan Rice is a good shout. Actually, yes. Fair play. That's why I have other people here with me. Declan Rice is the one, yeah.
You also agree that Granit Xhaka is a bit underrated by fans sometimes.
Listen,
and we're a bit too harsh on him, maybe.
We have always maintained, that Xhaka is not a bad footballer. He's a very good footballer. What I believe... based on what you were saying earlier on, you were saying it was almost like we got him. He was known as being a tough tackler. And we kind of then said to him, hey, you got to cut your tackling out. I don't think that specifically happened. I think the problem with Xhaka is, and I still maintain he's a very good footballer, to get us to where we want to get to, Xhaka was even one of those signings that Tom was harping back to. And I'm not saying that Xhaka's not a good footballer, he's a good footballer, but I think his problem has always been he's just not quite the right fit for the Prem at top level. I think the reason he doesn't tackle as much, or he's been told to, is because he's slower than a lot of the competition, and he struggles to get his feet organised. A lot of the things he does, the tackles he does and losing the ball, is because he doesn't seem to get his feet in order in time, and he doesn't seem to be able to move quick enough when he's closed down very quickly. I think the Prem just moves a bit too fast for him. But right now, and another question again, as I said, that come out for me is, look at him now. You got to get behind him. He's doing a great job for us. You cannot deny that. He's been really, really good since going back into midfield. I should never have been put left back since the introduction of El Neni next to him. Look, this was a partnership that we will go. This was our starting 11 partnership not that long ago. So why Arteta didn't think to revert back to this when we had the injuries is a question that comes out. But I think he's done really well and he deserves the plaudits right now. I really do.
Agreed with everybody. And Granit Xhaka has made his fair share of mistakes, just like any other player. Sometimes I think his mistakes are glorified a little bit more because of what happened with fans. Moving on, let's assume we'll finish in the Champions League. We'll finish 4th and we'll qualify for Champions League. There's quite a lot that needs to be done in the summer. Potentially a left back, midfielder, 2 strikers, because you're going to lose both of your strikers. Although I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow managed to get Nketiah to sign a contract.
There is one on the table, just by the way.
Sorry?
There is a contract on the table still for him.
Oh, God. He might just play himself into that, Tom, with where he's going.
Well, it's his decision. The contract's
it's him who's decided not to sign.
It's Nketiah's decision, yeah. He's the one who's not signing it right now.
Well, yeah, but if he keeps playing well and they probably see more sort of playing time, he might sign.
And I think financially is a lot better off for him to go sign somewhere else.
Well, I'll be happy with him going anyway.
But having said that, so that's quite a lot of players now. Like Saliba is coming back, so you got to make a decision in terms of the defense, because then you got Ben White, Gabriel, Saliba, and Rob Holding. So you got 4 centre backs, and one of them. I don't think Saliba will be content to come and sit on the bench. Maybe a right back if Tommy also gets injured again. Cedric is not Champions League level or top 4 race play, if you like. A midfielder, Nicolas Pepe will probably be off. I saw something today that Arsenal are willing to listen to offers for Nicolas Pepe. We haven't talked about him for a while, actually. Strikers, midfielders, that's quite a lot of players. And historically, Arsenal don't go out and buy 5 or 6 world-class players or 5 or 6 really good players. How do you see summer unfolding, Mo?
All depends on Champions League football.
Well, I said assume we'll finish in top.
Oh yeah, sorry, you did say that. Yeah, no, listen, I think we'll do stuff. You have to kind of read the comments a little bit. And someone was tweeting me earlier on today saying that Edu said that we'll only get 1 or 2 players, and I thought to myself, I didn't hear him say that. I heard him say that we're going to get. He wants 22 outfield and 3 goalkeepers. But then that person sent me a link to the quote. So I appreciated that person actually coming with receipts. But I think he misinterpreted it. So he could be wrong or I could be wrong. What I think Edu means is that we'll get that 25-man squad. But in terms of the 1 or 2, that's the next level. What Liverpool did with the Alisson and the Van Dijk, not to that extent, obviously. But I think when he's talking about the 1 or 2, this is direct into that starting lineup. So I think one of those forwards will come as one of that 1 or 2. Could be Gabriel Jesus and potentially someone else. There's rumours of let's say El Neni not getting a new contract. There's rumours of Pepe being sold, Laka, Eddie. So there'll be quite a few outgoings. So
sorry to interrupt you, Mo. I forgot to mention one more. Hector Bellerin is still a right back for this club that is coming back this summer.
Yeah,
I think he just won a cup, Tom, didn't he?
Yeah, Copa del Rey's got the assistant.
Right, would you not prefer, very quickly then, I'll throw this in, would you prefer him as cover over Cedric?
Yes.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. But I'd still sell it.
Yeah, sorry, Mo, sorry to interrupt you, but carry on.
Yeah, so basically, I think that it will be a really interesting summer, and I expect, because what I was saying, that person that sent me the quote, he had interpreted it as Edu saying we're going to sign 1 or 2 players. I think there will be 1 or 2 starting players, and everyone that leaves will be replaced. We'll end up with a bigger squad, especially if we've got European football.
We'll need a bigger squad.
Yeah, that person who did tweet you was misinterpreting it, Mo. The ESPN Brazil reporter actually came out afterwards and tweeted about it. I think he had a little exchange with Fabrizio about it on Twitter yesterday. But yeah, Edu's basically, as you said, he's targeting 1 or 2. I feel like 1 will be Europa League, 2 will be if we get Champions League. Next level upgrade marquee, you know, Alisson, Van Dijk, as you say, level signings. But that doesn't rule out, you know, the work needs to be done, because we're going to see players move on. You know, Bellerin is probably going to go. Pepe is probably going to go. You know, we're going to need to get a wide forward in, I think, on top of 2 strikers. That's why we're being linked to the likes of Cody Gakpo at the moment as well. So I think that, yeah, it's going to be... I'm excited. It's one of the first transfer windows that I'm not apprehensive or intrigued by. I'm actually excited about what we might do this summer.
Lev?
He's like that girl from The Ring.
What are you doing?
My headphone came out, so I was just trying to sort it out.
Where do you stand in the summer? What do you see happening? You know, we discussed quite a few
There's
positions.
two different ways of looking at it. It's either what do I want from us in the summer, or what Arsenal are going to do in the summer. They're 2 different things.
Let's go. What I
want 2 strikers that are of the ilk that, you know, that you look at that and everyone knows who they are and they can get you goals. They've got a good, strong record of getting you goals, and they're the right fit. I think that's the most important thing. The people we bring in have to be the right fit. It does make you ask questions. You know, people saying, should we get fullbacks, for example? But Tavares is only like 22, 23. So what, we're going to go and get another left back because he's had a few bad games? Or do we work on him as an individual to develop him? Because you got to remember, he's a backup for a reason, right?
Can I just ask you something, right?
Yeah,
if we're going in the Champions League, if you want to have a decent run in the Champions League, would you be happy with Tavares?
Tavares has played in the Champions League.
Yeah, but
sure
would you
he
be...
has.
How far
Europa
did he
League.
go in Champions League?
Europa League. He got knocked out by us.
He's played in Europa.
We're talking about Champions League, man. Remember, if we go back to Champions League, we'll probably be the 4th seed team. So we're going to get a tough group.
I think Tavares is fine. I really think you're overreacting about him, to be honest.
I think his
defensive
I think
look,
thing is a bit questionable, Tom.
He
You must-
just
Absolutely,
needs
he's
game
22.
time.
Like, he's 22.
I know, but
like,
this is what I'm saying. Would it be an idea maybe send him out on a loan or something?
No,
No,
he's
we-
not a starting left
I
back.
just think if you want to go, because remember, next season, teams around us will probably be, Man United will definitely be stronger. You know, other teams will be stronger.
We'll have more options when Saliba and them lot come back.
He will get injured, and that's why I'm open to replacing Kieran Tierney. So
You are.
if Real Madrid came in with a £50 million bid for Kieran Tierney, we can get a left back as good as Kieran Tierney or better. You know, I really like Kieran Tierney. Don't get me wrong; it's not me criticising him, but you know, I can't have a £50 million worth player miss a third of the season every year and then have to rely on a backup. So I'd much rather, you know, be open to the idea of a £50 million sale and getting someone in as good. I think, and it's only if we do that. If you're telling me that we get £50 million, that's not enough for me to say, okay, I'll sell him. I need to know that, you know, we're going to be getting in as good of a replacement for Tierney. But I can't, having a player that
situation.
Yeah, exactly. That, and we all know how bad a mistake that was to not replace him in January. If you let Tierney go, you know, we get in as good of a player. Who doesn't take that? Because, you know, you're getting someone that can be more reliable throughout the season.
I think once we get Saliba back, well, hopefully we get him back. Tomiyasu fully fit. It does still give you options if you do get injuries outside of, you know, using just Tavares, or ideally we want Tierney fully fit, right? But look, for me, priority is midfield and strikers.
Did you think if Saliba is coming back, do you think Mikel Arteta maybe start entertaining 3 at the back? Tierney, left wing.
Why not?
Right
Maybe why not have that option available? Maybe tougher games away. Maybe, you know, whatever you could go.
Of course.
It's nice to have that option. I don't know if he would stick with it all the way through an entire season, but you know, it worked well against Chelsea, for example, didn't it?
Tom, just out of curiosity, if Real Madrid come in with a £50 million for Saliba, would you take it as well?
Again, you'd have to guarantee.
I'm going to come to you two after, so you better think about it.
Again, you'd have to guarantee me that we'd be getting in, you know, a very, very good replacement. If you said that we're just getting the money and there's no guarantee we're getting in anyone as good as Saliba, then no. But, I mean, you'd be lucky to get 40 million from him in the market at the moment. So, you know.
I'm just putting a question out.
No, I know, yeah.
Stupid question, isn't it?
Mo, what about you?
No, I would not take the money for Saliba. No way in hell. When anyone talks about the top 5 central defensive prospects in European football, Saliba's in that list.
Yes.
You don't sell players like that.
100%.
So for me, I keep him all day. Kieran Tierney, I love the guy. I think he's a fantastic professional. I think he's a really good left back. And, you know, there was a time where he was our most important player. Let's not forget that. There was a bit of a more difficult time at one point where everything we did was going through Kieran Tierney. It was Tierney and hope, basically. So he had
another one. Mo,
That wasn't a good thing.
yeah, I know, but it just shows that
what
you
you
can't
say.
do that with any player. You know, it shows that Tierney was enough of an outlet, enough of a threat, was still able to do his defensive stuff. To put that burden on a player speaks about the player, and that's why I mentioned that. So
Yeah, and another thing, Mo, is that he's been mentioned as the next Arsenal captain, Kieran Tierney.
Yeah. But the only reason why I can understand Tom's point of view on that about, let's say, a 50 million hypothetical from Madrid is because of the injuries. You know, he is very injury prone. If people are having the conversation of should he even be captain, given how much he gets injured, then of course you can have the conversation about, look, should we take a sizable offer? And 50 million pounds would be a lot of money to add on. And I feel like, of course, we can go to the market and reinvest that wisely. So I would be tempted at 50 million for Kieran Tierney. But if someone said to me his injury problems are behind him, then I wouldn't take it. So for me, it's all predicated on those injury problems.
Lev?
Oh, well, firstly, just to add, if we were to sell Kieran Tierney, I'd be pissed off because I think part of the reason he's probably getting these injuries as well, we expected a lot from him. We put a lot on him. Like up and down, putting in Odegaard and get the crosses in, defending, all that. So I wouldn't want to sell him, and I do think he's future leadership as well. So I wouldn't let him go. But Saliba, I'd be furious if we sold Saliba. I would never sell him, not in a million years. Not in a million years. I think that lad there is quality oozing through him. He's going to be one of the best. We'd be ridiculously stupid to have him out on loan all that time. Let him get to the levels he's got to. And what more can a guy do on loan other than what he's done? You can't do any more than what he's done. So if you put him out on loan to earn his stripes and then he's done what he's done and got into the French first 11 international team as well, and you're still saying he's not good enough and Rob Holding is, you got an issue.
You know what? True. I must admit, the chat is people in the chat box has been really good. And why not sentiment? He's coming out with some really good one-liners tonight, man. He's calling Ben White.
Really not.
Love Island's Mustafi. No, man. Anyway, I understand lately this has been a thing, Tom, where you come out with a totally irrelevant question to everybody at the end of the show. Is that?
Oh, crap. Yeah, I've got a finger on now.
Oh, God. Nice to know you really prepared for this.
I've been away last week. I forgot. No, okay. I can think of something. No worries. Do you want it now?
No, give it to us in an hour.
Okay. Such a dick. What is the one television series that you wish you could start again, not knowing what happens?
Only Fools and Horses.
Oh my God, that's your answer to every TV show is Only Fools and Horses.
How many times?
What's your favourite horror? Only Fools and Horses. What's your favourite drama? Only Fools and Horses. What's your favourite? Come on, you must have watched more stuff than only reruns of Only Fools and Horses.
Why are you having what's this? Answer the thing, man. Only because I said Only Fools and Horses before him, you know.
What? Sorry. Sorry, I think. What was the? If I could start another TV show again, and not knowing the end of it, which one would it be? Game of Thrones.
What a shit answer.
What? Oh yeah. That. Okay, sorry, man.
Mo, what about you?
Man, all right, could I just ask Shaheem before Mo and anyone else answers the question? What was the ending for Only Fools and Horses? Just want to know.
The end scene was they were in a cemetery, and then Rodney finds out that Freddy the Frog was his dad, and Delboy was telling him, "Don't worry, you're nothing like him."
It went on after that. They became millionaires. Do you know that?
They're sold
You
to
didn't.
watch.
Oh shit! Spoiler alert! Shit, I'm giving Shaheen a spoiler.
Mo, let's ignore him. I'm gonna mute him in a second. What was your thing?
Can I just be really boring and just say the Invincible season? I would love to experience that.
That's
again.
that's not what we're after.
But
Not a series.
That's what comes to my mind. I would just love to re-experience that. You know, for as much as I was unbearable, you know, when Arsenal were that good, I was an unbearable human being. I was so cocky and arrogant about my club. And looking back, I wasn't cocky and arrogant enough. I should have milked it more. But fine, if that's not going to do for you.
No.
Wait, Lev.
Prison Break, maybe?
What's this here, man? Can you explain this to me, Lev? He's trying to pick up subs and everything from here, isn't he? Oh, Nick, you need to come on my show.
Nick disagrees with everything I say, so I'd love to have a chat with him.
Have a word, Lev.
I think you just did, Shaheen.
What about you, Tom? What's your answer?
Oh, mate. The worst thing about asking these questions is I don't have an answer for them. There's so many series. There was a series that was on BBC One back in the I said back in the day when I was younger, which is is yesterday for you guys. But Life on Mars was a really good BBC series.
Oh,
John
I
Sim
remember that. What they coppers in that?
Yeah, basically he's in a car crash and he goes back to 1973.
Yes, what didn't they have some sort of a car like a Cortina or something?
Yeah, full Cortina. Yeah.
I remember that.
In the follow-up series, they have an Audi Quattro. Yeah,
I forgot about that.
It's sick. It's very good. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, people, Life on Mars and then Ashes to Ashes is follow-up, and you should definitely watch it.
Well, we've got a super chat from Isa87.
He never says
Love this
anything.
team. Thank you very much, Isa. Thank you very much.
Oh, is it the person who couldn't work
The guy
out
that
to
puts
use the
it out?
super chat?
He puts it in.
Thank you
He's
for
improving.
thank you for your super chat, and we're all very happy to see that you've worked that out. How to write, because he saved us when finding your comment.
That was so sarky for someone who's just giving you a super chat.
Yeah.
Oh,
We really like you, Issa. We don't
well
speak
done,
to
Issa.
him.
Well done for
I said
working
we're
out.
really
Issa.
glad to see you worked that out because he saves us.
That's not how you said it, Shane.
Lev is asking for something, man. Listen, Mo has just finished his fast. He needs to go and eat properly. I need to go eat properly. Thank you very much to everyone. Thank you very much for everybody who turned up today. Really, really appreciate your time. Honestly, being here. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to Mo's channel, Mo Haydar on YouTube. Subscribe to Tom, the Guna Talk TV. You can find Tom 8 o'clock every day at the Guna Talk TV. You might see me with the odd comment on a super chat because Lev is never awake at that time anyway. So, guys, final thoughts, Tom?
Thanks for having me as always. Really appreciate your time. And come join me at 8 a.m. I know that you will, Shaheen. I know Lev less so. He's not up that early usually. He's not a morning man.
I watch you to fall asleep, Tom. I'm up from the night before.
Oh yeah.
I'm joking.
Well, what about you? Final thoughts?
Yeah, you can just catch me after. Hopefully, we beat West Ham on my channel with my match reaction, and then my 5 at 5 the next day. But good time to be an Arsenal fan. Loving it right now.
Very good. Lev?
No, listen, I'm just happy to be back. Happy to have had this convo with you guys again. Love having our Monday chats. Thanks to everyone in the chats. Also, I'll do a little thing as well. There's this thing behind me. You see this wooden thing behind me? Someone's actually said, is it a bath?
It looks like a bath.
a wooden bath. That would be really clever, wouldn't it? I want you guys in the comments after, if you could tell me, guess what this wooden thing is behind me.
Whoever gets it right, Lev will give it away for free.
Yeah. You could have my bath for free. But if you can guess what it is, there'll be a prize in it for you. I'll let you know what it is. So put that in the comments as well. Thank you.
All right. Well, from me, thank you very much for being here. We really appreciate your support. Please hit the like, subscribe to all 3 channels. And hopefully we'll do this again next week with another...
You rhino.
That's the most intelligent thing he's put in the chat box all night, to be fair.
Sorry, Shaheen.
You know, when the show is finished, you can sit down, read your comments, and have a laugh if you want.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He called it a urinal.
Anyway, you guys take care. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you guys hopefully next week with more positive Arsenal news.
Oh, I like that Sean one. Yeah.